copy of a letter that Winston Churchill wrote.
Oh, yeah. It's only correct twice a
Was this inspiration, was this predominantly taken from New York? I mean, it influenced America. I mean, we didn't necessarily come from that.
Yeah, Mr. Hearst traveled extensively, and he really loved the architecture of southern Spain especially. And most of the collections come from the Renaissance and the Gothic periods here. Yeah, so this ceiling is just reminiscent of life here on the hilltop. Underneath that chandelier, it's William Randolph Hearst's initials. You see some of the reliefs say San Simeon. You've got snakes and eagles and fish, all things you would encounter living here on the ranch. And there's 2 more bedrooms this way. That would have been worn by probably a pope or a bishop for a ceremony or processional or something like that. Heavy, I bet. It's velvet and silk. That thing in the center flips up over their head. It's a hood. So you'll see they're throughout. And we've got the same. Made for it's got the Pope's name, Clement Pont Maximus, and you know that thing's in pretty good shape for being from the 17th century, I would say. Those columns are pretty amazing, aren't they? That's appreciated marble. That's that kind of stone. Just gorgeous. It's got a lot of that as well. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna head right out. 550 square feet. Soul House of the Sun the next year. This one is 3,600 square feet. We're gonna go see the big. This is
Well, portico to look through or what have you.
in fact, this particular cottage, Mr. Hearst was building up as because this was the idea, the concept was here before this got going. And 5,350 square feet. So come on in.
How many guests?
Not until the big. And so Julia Morgan had to make some kind of adjustments here, and I think it came in this little narrow stairwell here that you can see. It's one on either side. Because she didn't have room to expand out because they ran out of land here, she would make these stairways real small. We're gonna go to the downstairs area, but the state does not allow us to use these because they're very narrow, they're slippery, it's, you know what, because they're marble and there's no railing, so we go out and around. But this, like I said, was being built for the Hearst family. Make sure you check out these amazing doors. These are all hand-carved wood. They're from Spain and Mexico in about the 18th century, but they're just gorgeous. The bathroom behind me that we're gonna walk through was originally being built for Mr. Hearst's wife, Millicent. And Mr. Hurst would write to Julie Morgan when they were designing this, and he said, now for Millicent's bathroom, fill it with all the really pretty things ladies like, so let's go see what they came up with.
Yep.
You can have it now.
Tiles on the floors here, these were all designs of Julie Morgan and her team. His bedroom, his wife's bedroom. You know, it was common back in that era for husbands and wives, when they were wealthy people, they had separate bedrooms. So when she was occupying this room, there was only one bed. This one right here, it's a 16th century Spanish bed. Now, after the family donated this estate to the state of California, they continued to actually come here and stay in this cottage up to a certain time, until the mid-70s. And so when they were staying here, they just needed more sleeping area, because there's over 70 descendants of Hearst left. So they would add a bed in this room, and this one was made in the 50s, and they replicated that. Pretty good job, right?
Yes, they did.
Now we've got family photos in this room. You don't see a lot of that here on the hilltop. That gentleman behind the door right there is George Hearst. That was Mr. Hearst's father as a young man. He was the miner who made the original Hearst family fortune. Later in George's life, he was a politician. He would do 2 terms in the United States Senate. We didn't have California senators back then. He was a United States senator. This is an official portrait of him back in Washington, D.C., and George would pass away while he was still in office. This is William Hearst over in the refectory or the dining room, and this was taken of him shortly before he passed away. So this is the sitting room that the family would gather in.
Hers overlooks the valley too, of course,
Uh-huh.
it's the same thing, just
Just expansive.
the grand scale, you know.
This is
view.
best room.
Yeah, it's
My
beautiful.
goodness.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So the chest right behind us here, I don't know if any of you saw the tour where they explained the ceilings over there, some of that ceiling, and massive ceiling restoration work. The same man is working on this, this is a 15th century Spanish chest, when he would make out those figures quite as well. And there's a big crack in it, if you bend over you can see. So he's just, I think he's about done with the restoration here, because he's working on one of the other ceilings in the new wing now, but restoration work is interesting these days. They have to be able to undo what they do. So if somewhere down the line, either the family or the state of California decides, oh, we want it back the way it was. This man, Gary Hobart, who does this work, he has this solution. It's some kind of alcohol and water. He can just wipe that all away, just wipe it off.
Seriously?
Be gone. Yeah,
Wow.
it'll be back just the way it was, but it's pretty amazing. So this room right here was Mr. Hurst's bedroom.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah.
Just the detail.
Oh my gosh.
So this bedroom was Mr. Hurst's bedroom at different points in his life. When he was vacationing with his family, this was his room. And then in 1926, him and his wife had a formal legal separation. They would live separate lives on separate coasts from that point on. And he was living here with Marion Davies, who was his longtime companion. They were together over 30 years. Now, and when him and Marion were together, originally they moved up onto the 3rd floor in the main house. And then when World War II broke out, Mr. Hurst didn't feel safe here. There was actually a ship was sunk right off the coast of Cambria, which is just a few miles down the road. It was kind of a precarious time. So they left the hilltop, him and Marion did, and they went and stayed up in Wintoon, which is in Northern California, close to the Oregon border. It's up there on the McCloud River by Mount Shasta. The family still has that estate up there. It's called Wintoon. It's like this whole Bavarian village. I've seen pictures of it. So they spent the war years up there. When they came back here to the hilltop, it was in 1944, and Mr. Hurst was not very well at this point. He was, aging, and he had a heart condition. So he could no longer always navigate the expanse of the big house. So him and Marion moved back in here. So this was his room at different points in his life. Now, they would leave the hilltop for good in 1947. because his cardiologist came to him and said, you gotta be near a hospital. You know, since, I mean, we still don't have a hospital here, it's pretty remote. Back in those days, it was very remote. Of course, Hearst had his own solution for that. He thought the cardiologist should move here. Like, you take care of me, I'll take care of you. And the cardiologist said, no, you gotta be near a hospital. So him and Marion moved to her estate, which was in Beverly Hills. And he lived there for the rest of his life. He actually passed away in her home in 1951. But so this was his room at different points in his life. You see another one of the copes there. This was his
I mean, that picture was taken, and then when he said he was in his bed.
his